What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today I actually have some news for you guys regarding Black Ops 6. Ladies and gentlemen, the Call of Duty developers went ahead and put together a podcast kind of deal. If you guys remember back to Battlefield 2042, those little podcasts they posted on YouTube where they have little, developer meetings and talk about what they're working on, so on and so forth. That's basically what they did right here, and I actually had another video planned for today. I'm going to postpone that one because, again, as you guys already know, I'm not going to be home Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, so there's going to be no streams for anybody who's curious about Twitch. Yes, I'm not going to be streaming Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and also in the comment section on the videos that go live Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I probably won't be in the chat either because, I'm going to be kind of shut off social media to just kind of, breathe a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But of course, I'll be back in Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all that good stuff, man. But again, that video I had planned for today, I have to push back a little bit here because this news is extremely important for Call of Duty Black Ops 6. And I am actually kind of excited to go ahead and discuss it with you guys. There's some positives, but again, basically, during Modern Warfare 3, if you guys have been watching me for a while now, I have been just absolutely loving the communication that Sledgehammer Games has been putting out there for the overall audience. They've been talking to the community, finding middle grounds. Sometimes they test things out with us. It's not to the degree that I would like it to be. It's not like X-Defiant where literally everything is talked about. There's no secrets, nothing being hidden. They're open to, test out different things and find middle grounds for the community. It's not there just yet. But what they started to do with Modern Warfare 3 was such a huge step in the right direction, and I was curious if they're going to carry on this behavior. Because it seems so far that Sledgehammer Games is the only team that actually is willing to open up with communities. World War II overhauled the game. Vanguard, went back to some of the, core perks and other things and reworked it because the community wanted it done. And then Modern Warfare 3, they literally designed a whole game, I'm not lying, they literally designed this whole game around community feedback, every last bit of it. They are the only team that takes this extra step. And then every single time afterwards with Infinity Ward and Treyarch, yes, I'm not saying Treyarch makes bad games. They probably make the best right now. But again, they never take that communication to the next step. They just make their product, and if you don't like it, you don't like it. You know what I'm saying here? And no matter what you say, no matter, what we want out of a Call of Duty game from Treyarch, our feedback isn't really taken too serious. We're just kind of irrelevant. They won't even bother, talking about it with us or discussing things with us, just keeping us in the loop, like Sledgehammer has been doing with their current title. But after Modern Warfare 3, it was so much support that I was curious if it was going to transfer over to Black Ops 6, if Treyarch was going to take that and run with it. And sadly, it just doesn't seem to be that way, ladies and gentlemen. As you all can see right here from Modern Warzone, and again, there's some more information after this post from, Charlie Intel that I wanted to discuss about Black Ops 6, but I'm going to hyper-focus into this topic really quickly and discuss with you guys before we move on. But he said, you cannot toggle Omni Movement off in Call of Duty Black Ops 6. Omni Movement is a core foundational mechanic of the game. You cannot turn it off. The new movement system will be active across the entire game, campaign, multiplayer, and zombies. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something really quickly. I'm not mad about this whatsoever. I have to make this extremely clear, so when I go ahead and criticize this, people don't say, oh, you're just, you're just criticizing it or giving them trouble because you suck and you don't know what you're doing and you don't enjoy it. No, not even in the slightest. This is probably the most exciting thing that's going on with Black Ops 6. Let's be realistic here. What else is going to be groundbreaking new for Call of Duty in this franchise? It's just going to be another Call of Duty game. Everybody's buying in to get their yearly fix that's going to last for a few months, and then they'll go off and play with other games that, they want to personally enjoy. But this right here is probably the biggest change, and this is what I'm most curious about. I'm really excited to see if it's going to be fun, if it's going to be fluid, enjoyable, useful, and a skill gap, or if it's just going to be a pointless, gimmicky garbage movement, thing that they try to introduce that just didn't turn out to be good. Now, in the podcast, they made it seem like it was pretty decent. They were saying a lot of the pro players were looking around at it and they were pretty shocked and impressed and they were enjoying it. But again, I don't care about those words. I just need to see this for myself. I need to try it in my own hands, and then we'll really see if it's good or bad. And again, just very quickly, I'm going to, veer off the topic really fast. These podcasts, yes, they are phenomenal, but I don't think they're going to last too long. I mean, even just look at Battlefield 2042, for example. Those podcasts, they just fall off at a certain amount of time. Same thing when it comes to Call of Duty. This is typical, right? We always get a lot of communication before the game launches. We'll see how long all of this stuff actually lasts and if they're really going to put forth effort in giving us a podcast all the time with every season, every, so often for an update to keep people, in the know on what's happening within the game. I doubt it, but if it happens, good. But I just wanted to say this very quickly because I don't want people to get their hopes up and expectations high for more podcasts in the future, because it is pretty likely they will eventually, dwindle away. But back to the main topic here. Omni movement is probably the coolest thing that's going to be introduced into Black Ops 6, and we don't even know if it's going to turn out good or not. But the point that I want to make here is that, yes, I enjoy it, but I still find it absolutely insane that they're not giving all the players in this game, a Call of Duty game, the option to go ahead and toggle this feature off, especially if they don't enjoy it whatsoever. This is going to change how Call of Duty feels completely. It's no way around it. Being able to run in every single direction you could think, and being able to dive and slide and ADS and do all these different features. This is not going to feel like your typical Call of Duty experience, and some people probably don't want to deal with that. And, it's sad that they're not trying to find a middle ground for the community. Like I said, Sledgehammer Games did such a phenomenal job in Modern Warfare 3, putting this game together and really trying to hyper-focus community feedback, trying to find a middle ground for everybody's feedback and, implementing it into the game. They did a great job with that. Same thing with XDefiant, they always go ahead and go to the drawing board, like with the movement, for example, the game has always had movement. It's always been an extremely fast-paced game that had some, B-hopping and all of that included. And, a lot of people didn't like that when the game dropped. So what did they do? They went to the drawing board and tried to find a middle ground. They didn't say screw you to the people who don't enjoy movement, but at the same time, they weren't trying to run away all of their hardcore fans that have been playing since day one, who know what the core, thing is with XDefiant. So they tried to improvise, and it worked in my personal opinion. I think they found a good middle ground, but again, I respect when developers go ahead and do that, right? Especially when it comes to, a multiplayer experience or a long-time franchise like Call of Duty. I think it's just a really rough move to not allow people who've been playing Call of Duty forever, who've been waiting for a Treyarch product to come out, who know Treyarch has not had, a good development cycle for God knows how long. I mean, Black Ops 4, they got screwed over, Cold War, they got screwed over, and they're finally getting a full 4 years of service here to put in some work for their next game. And, people want that. They're excited for that. They love Treyarch, but this game is going to, again, there's no options for you. If you don't want to play this, if you want to play it like a classic COD, I'm sorry to say you're not going to be able to do so, because the movement is going to be built differently. Now, yeah, you don't have to always rush or run and gun, but this game is going to be a whole different level between movement, the people who are playing the game, the overall skill gap, and the feel of the game itself. I just think that it's a huge misstep to not give players the ability to be able to toggle this on or off. And like I said, it worries me, because even though I think it's phenomenal and I cannot wait to try out the Omni movement, because like I said, it's probably the coolest part about Black Ops 6 right now that's going to be new and innovative. But I have to think about everybody out there who enjoys Call of Duty, and a toggle feature would be extraordinarily easy. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't ruin the experience for people who want to use the Omni movement. But again, for people who don't want to use it, they still have the ability to go ahead and take it off. I don't know. I just think that it's a very ballsy play, and it's sad to see them pull away from what Sledgehammer has created with the community. It's so sad. It really does seem like Sledgehammer is the only team that is really willing to open up their game to their communities and try to find middle grounds. Yes, they're passionate about what they make, and yes, they put together, solid projects out of their own creation, out of their own visions, but they don't let, their visions and their ego get in the way of what the community feedback truly is, And I'm just sad to see that slowly pull them back. But here's the second post right here from Charlie Intel. Black Ops 6 multiplayer will not allow players to loop score streaks. Black Ops 6 features traditional score streak system with streaks resetting after every life, unlike Cold War. Another one that I'm a little disappointed about. This is a feature that probably won't even affect more than half the lobbies. There's a very few amount of people who are going to be looping streaks over and over and over again every single game. It doesn't happen that frequently, and loopable streaks are in Modern Warfare 3. And yes, I do go up against opponents while playing that game who do get to, into the looping streak, cycle, and it does become a bit tedious, but how often does it happen? Barely ever. You know what I'm saying? And I'll say, for me personally, I can get it pretty consistently. But still, I just think it's a fun feature that's being stripped from the game. And they don't even want to think twice about it. They're not even going to be open with their community. Again, if the overall community, idea is that this is a bad idea, I'm all for it then. But they didn't even bother to see if anybody would enjoy this. All these style of features that were added into Modern Warfare 3, especially loopable streaks, are put there because of community feedback. All of these features, I'm not just saying that. No, they didn't go ahead and do this because they thought it was a good idea. No, all of these things have been messed and tampered with because they wanted to build the game around the people, and it turned out so good. It really did. I feel so bad for Sledgehammer Games because, the game is still riddled with skill-based matchmaking, and everybody views it as a $60 DLC, which I can't blame you because it really is just a better version of Modern Warfare 2, so nobody wants to cough up money for that. But man, I was hoping that they would keep that communication moving forward. And again, it's not bad. This isn't the end of the world for me personally. I could give two craps. Loopable streaks, non-loopable streaks, who cares, right? Like honestly, again, the only thing I'm really looking forward to right now is just the Omni movement because it's probably the most creative thing, and that's going to be cool to see. But all of these things being done here are just signs that if you don't like BO6, you're out of luck. It's just as simple as that. Whereas a lot of other games nowadays are willing to, kind of twist and work around with things. Not really single-player games. Single-player games, they drop and, this is their vision. They want to build upon it. But a lot of these multiplayer games, every single one I could possibly think of nowadays, takes a lot of feedback into mind when it comes to balancing, when it comes to, certain things within the game, when it comes to gunplay, actual engagement, so on and so forth, movement. A lot of these things are listened to. And, we are a part of the loop. And it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case when it comes to BO6. It seems like they're going to go in their own direction. They're going to make the game that they want to make. And if you don't like it, so be it. And this is coming from someone who thinks that, I don't mind crazy movement. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind that at all. I think crazy movement will be pretty fun to play in Black Ops 6. I don't mind, streaks not looping, even though I do enjoy them on Warfare 3, but is it the end of the world? No, not at all. But it's still the attitude of the developers here that worries me for the future of this game because it lets me know that anything drastic will not be touched upon whatsoever in the future. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about bugs and problems and, they could give us dates and, we're sitting here complaining, oh, well, you said this is going to be fixed this time. And, it's still, no, none of that noise. I'm just talking about core fundamentals of the game, right? They're not being open. Like I said earlier, let's be honest here. Would it really be that big of a problem if some people didn't have to use the Omni movement? I mean, if we're going to be real, the people who don't use the Omni movement will probably be at a massive disadvantage to those who toggle it on. So, I mean, I feel like it's not going to be that big of a problem. If people don't like it and they don't want to deal with it, they could turn it off. And if they really want to take advantage of the skill gap and improve at the game and get better, they could turn it back on. It seems like a very weird thing to not give an option to the community. And same thing with loopable streaks. They're not even bothering with, seeing what the community thinks about this. They're just saying, yep, this is what's going to be in our game. Screw anything else. Screw any other opinion. This is exactly how it's going to be, and this is how it's going to be for the year. It's just, man, I don't know. Maybe I've just been a bit spoiled with these games recently because I really have been. With Modern Warfare 3 and X-Defiant, it seems like they have been really, communicating well. And it's been treating their game nicely. I mean, a lot of the community, from what I see personally, enjoys the overall, community feedback. The only people who don't really enjoy it are the ones who don't like skill-based matchmaking, and that's reasonable. They don't want to hop into the experience because, they don't want to deal with that garbage. But for anybody who fights through it and sees what the developers have been doing with us, they respect it, they appreciate it. And again, the same goes for X-Defiant. Those who are willing to fight through and, see the outcome respect the developers because they do live up to their word. They always fix upon things that they mention. They always try to find a middle ground for certain features within the game. They give us dates on when things will be fixed up, like the netcode and hit reg. We are in the loop still. We're in the loop still, and it will be nice if Treyarch would do the same as well. These podcasts are cool and all, but there's a difference between putting out podcasts and, holding Q&As of hand-picked questions and actually going out into the trenches and being with the community, talking with the community, discussing stuff with the community. It's a huge difference. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. We post daily here to 8 in the morning Eastern time. And don't forget, guys, we will not be live Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But if you guys want to catch my stream when I'm back on Saturday, by all means, you can find a link to my Twitch channel down in the description of this video. But as always, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.